Hi, I'm Joe. I'm one of the founders here at Lineup Ninja, and this is a quick start guide. So when you first log into your new team, you're going to see something like this. It's your homepage, and you've got your team name there. Click on the team name to navigate into that team. And in here, you're going to see a section for your events. So when you have some events, you'll see a list of them down here. And you've got a section for your team members here as well. If you want to add a new team member, you click on the blue plus button. Just put in their name and email address, and choose role for them. So we've got admin, event manager, a read-only event viewer, and so on. Click invite user. That's going to send them an invitation with a link that they can click on to join the team. And now we can see that that user has now been invited. Okay, to add your first event, click on the blue plus button again. That's going to ask you to give it a name. And the first thing you're going to be asked to do is set the time zone. Next, we need to add the opening times of the event. What we're doing here is setting the times into which you can schedule your sessions. So we want to add a row for each day of the show here. It will default to a start time of 9 AM, which you can change here. Let's go for 9:30. And similarly, the closing time will default to 5 PM here. If you want, you can give each day a name. And then let's go ahead and add a second day for this event. And by default, it will just choose the next day and the same opening times. Okay, so now we've got a time zone and some times. We can start to think about building our agenda. Let's go into agenda planning. And the first thing we need to do here is to add some locations that we can then schedule some sessions into. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to add a couple of locations. Let's create a main stage and a couple of breakout rooms. So in this list view, we can edit some of the fields associated with those locations by clicking on the pencil button here. So we can set the color, the capacity for that room. If we've got tracks, resources, and labels, we can add those. We don't have them yet, so we can't. But if we want to add additional details, we can click through onto the location. And in here, we can set things like the location description. We can also upload things like sponsor logos for that location as well. Okay, so we've got our locations. If we go back to our agenda planner, we can now see we've got a column for each of these locations. And we've got a thumbnail here for each of those days or the opening times. So that's great, but we want to start to create some sessions. So again, we come over here to the left-hand menu, click on sessions. So again, click the blue plus button to add a new session. And if I had some speakers, I'd have a drop-down list here that I could choose them from. I don't have any, so it just says no speakers found. It's picked up the default duration, which is set down here. If I want, I can change that just for this session. And if I had tracks, resources, and labels, again, I could assign them at this point, but I don't. I'm just going to go ahead and save that. So again, I can set some of the fields in this view, and if I want to have access to all the fields, click on the session name, and in here I've got all those fields, so things like the session description, and I can also add files like session sponsor logos. Simply go to the file upload area, choose the file type you want, and upload that image in there. Okay, so I want to create a bunch of placeholder sessions for my draft agenda. I can either just manually keep adding them, or I can copy my first session, and let's say I want to make 10 copies of it. If you have any of these items associated with your sessions, then they will be copied, or you can choose not to by deselecting them. I'm just going to click copy session, and that will create 10 new sessions and give them all different names. It's picked up the duration from the first session. If I now go into my agenda planning view, I'll see on the right-hand side down here, I've got my list of unscheduled sessions, and they all appear down here. To schedule them onto your agenda, simply drag and drop them from the unscheduled list onto the time slot where you want that session to happen. I'm just going to do the first couple for now. Okay, so we've got times, we've got locations, and we've got some sessions. We're going to want to add some speakers. So to add speakers manually, you can do that in the same way as before. Just click the blue plus button. I'm going to add Joe 4. You can set their email address, company, And again, just like before, if you click on the speaker's name, then you can add all those other fields like their biography, job title, company, and so on. And you can also upload their speaker profile picture in here as well. So choose speaker profile picture from there, upload it to this area. Also in this view, I can associate my speaker with certain sessions. So I'm going to go ahead and select these two sessions for my speaker. I'll click OK. And that's immediately come back with an error saying speaker not available. So let's go over to the agenda planner and see what's going on. So I can see that these are the two sessions that I'd already scheduled, and I've tried to put that speaker in two places at the same time. So to resolve that, I either need to change the speaker for one of these sessions, or I can drag and drop it and just move one of the sessions. When I do that, if I pick up the session, it's grayed out the times which are not going to work for that session with that speaker. And the time slots that are white are good for that session. So let's drop this one at 10:30. So now both the sessions have turned green, and if I go back to my speaker list, that message has disappeared. Okay, so our agenda has now got dates, times, locations, sessions, and some speakers. Many of our clients also have tracks or themes or streams. To add those, go to tracks. And I'm just going to add a couple of tracks. Let's call one technology. And let's have another one called finance. Again, in here, you can set some of the fields in this view, or you can click through and set them all in here as well. I'm going to associate my two scheduled sessions with this track, so session 1. And I'm also going to associate this track with one of my locations. So I'm going to say I want all of my technology sessions to happen in breakout room 1. If we go back to our agenda planner, we'll now see that this session has turned red again. And that's because if we mouse over here, it's telling us that the technology track doesn't belong in this location. So if I drag and drop this session again, it's going to grey out the times which are not going to work for that session based on the speaker's availability and the track. And it's going to show me in white the times which are going to work for that session. So I can drop it there and it's turned green. Everything's good. So I've shown you how to add sessions and speakers and tracks and locations manually. Often you're going to want to ask your speakers to provide their profile information, possibly also their sessions. And you can do that via the speaker portal, which if you come to event settings, you'll find down here. You can also have much more sophisticated content gathering workflows using what we call submission flows. Submission flows allow you to automate a lot of the content gathering process and the communication with the speakers. And these can be embedded within the portal. Both the speaker portal and submission flows are covered in detail in other videos, so I suggest you check them out. Also, there are loads more videos and FAQs available on docs.lineup.ninja, so check out the docs. And as ever, if you can't find what you need, reach out to support and we'll be more than happy to help. Thanks for watching. Bye.